Hello.
Oh yeah. This is called 33 drumheads are 126 gates. It has an epigraph. Kleinigkeiten, which means about the same thing, the publisher called them. Use paper windows to like purpose. Merely suffices to prolong and reproduce a bare existence. Dogs bark
Of the Searle bunting, the long extant as creatures in their own right, their awkward rendering in resin, flint, and torn paper stands as an urgent provocation to nature. So much so that the word Dunnock now stands for small flint, resin, and
there the contest breaks out into riots by increased speed of the machinery, etc. Here and there the contest breaks out into riots. Even manufacture no longer sufficed, chafed by the memory of halting awkward sentences, by
these
increased
small light pieces. Among the light organs of the Dunnock and the Searle bunting are some that resemble bark, though long creatures in their own right, their rendering in paper reminds the viewer of the point at which nature becomes provocation, so much so that the Dunnock now resonates only among dark constructions, the Searle bunting forgotten among yellow renditions. Both creatures bark small.
at the gate. An exquisite organ is contained in a little skin formed like a drumhead. The wind can also be created by using pressurized steam instead of air. Visiting the king penguins at Volunteer Point merely suffices to prolong and reproduce a bare existence. Dogs bear existence. Dogs bark.
Stands out rendering their awkwardness and their flint character. The point at which such long creatures stands as provocation to smallness and to lightness. The Dunnock is by now an awkward
sentences. The windows to prolong and there the gate merely suffices to like a bark at Volunteer Point, chafed by the memory of air. Here and reproduce a bark at Volunteer Point. An exquisite organ is contest, breaks out into riots. Here and the
resin
gate.
organs have been replaced. Several small light pieces of Dunnock make one dark yellow flint. Several small dark pieces of flint make one bark of Dunnock. Several small yellow pieces of Searle bunting make one dark organ.
Is contest, breaks out into riots. Here and the gate, visiting there and the gate. An exquisite organ.
Several small light flints of Dunnock make one paper replica of hue. Several small Dunnocks of flint make one bark of the organ. Several small Searles of bunting make one Dunnock's organ. Several small organs of resin. Several small barks of flint. Several small lights. Several small light pieces of Searle bunting make one long organ. The organs of paper and resin awkwardly
Sentence. Dogs bark at the king penguins at Volunteer Point. An exquisite organ is contained in a little skin formed like purpose, merely suffices to like purpose, chafed by the world, to prolong and reproduce a bare existence. By increased speed of some of setting awkward sentences, by increased speed of setting the gate, by
urgent
increased
provocation, small and light. The point among the organs of Dunnock's and the bark of Searle buntings is where the paper and the flint combine. Their awkward rendering is a provocation. by lighting the paper.
Point, chafed by the contained little skin, a drum head of air. Here the memory of air. Here the gated by the memory of halting, the gated little skin, a drumhead. Chafed into like and can is contest, breaks out in a drumhead. Chafed by using
Lighting the paper. Constructions of a darker hue and of the same materials render the organs in light. So much so that the bark now stands for paper and the flint now stands for resin. Both are largely forgotten now, having been replaced by organs of an awkward
steam at the memory of halting, use purpose, visiting awkward steam. Use paper windows to like purpose, dogs bark at the machinery, etc. Merely suffices to like a drumhead, chafed by the contained in a little skin, formed like a drumhead, chafed by the king penguins at Volunteer Point, an exquisite organ
of the dunnock and the surl-bunting, long extant creatures. Their awkward rendering in resin, flint, and torn paper stands for small flint, resin, and torn paper constructions of a darker hue. Surl-bunting stands for the same materials rendered in yellow. The bark of dunnocks and the organs of surl-buntings are largely forgotten now, having been replaced by long.
And there the gate. Cheers.